This is madness. Donald Trump could sign an executive order on day one of his term to purchase an additional 500,000 Bitcoin to the 200,000 Bitcoin that the USA already owns. And I'm not the one saying this, but a hedge fund manager from the USA and also a BlackRock competitor is talking about what will happen in 2025. And additionally, some information that no one has talked about yet was on the Bitcoin $100,000 party at Michael Saylor's house released, which might shock you. All the details about it in the video. In a recently released interview, Anthony Scaramucci was asked if the USA could soon build a strategic Bitcoin reserve in addition to the 200,000 Bitcoin they already own. His answer was, yes, I believe that will happen. He explained that there is already enough support in the Senate. Names like Haggerty and McCormick are backing the initiative. Donald Trump also supported this move and has an important ally in Tim Scott, the chairman of the Banking Committee, and in the original draft of the bill, there was even talk of buying 1 million Bitcoin. But according to Scaramucci, it will probably end up being more like 400,000 to 500,000 Bitcoin. And in the interview, the question was also raised whether Democrats would support the plan. And that, Scaramucci answered optimistically, the Senate had supported similar financial initiatives in the past. Only a few well-known critics like Elizabeth Warren or Sherrod Brown might oppose it. His main argument, if the USA already possesses gold reserves worth $600 billion, then why not? Also Bitcoin worth $75 to $100 billion? After all, Bitcoin is increasingly being seen as digital gold. The digital property, Scaramucci, considers the chances of Bitcoin being purchased by the US government as realistic and adequate, and hints that behind the scenes, steps are already being taken to buy Bitcoin. And Anthony Scaramucci is an American investor, entrepreneur, and founder of the investment firm Skybridge Capital. He gained notoriety when he briefly served as the White House communications director under Donald Trump in July 2017, however only for 10 days. Since then, he has been primarily active in the financial sector and is a prominent advocate of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, for example. But it doesn't stop here. In an interview, Jack Mellers talks about Donald Trump working on a potential day one executive order, meaning an order on the first day of his term to purchase Bitcoin as a reserve for the USA. And now Jack Mellers comes along and says that once Donald Trump is in office, Trump would initially receive extensive powers through the Dollar Stabilization Act to protect the dollar, and this would lead, according to Mellers, to the USA not having the scope of 1 million Bitcoin, meaning 1 million Bitcoin. Then they would buy but still purchase a significant amount, presumably even the amount Anthony Scaramucci mentioned. So it would be a clear signal that the USA has recognized the strategic importance of Bitcoin. And Mellers emphasizes that this aspect often receives too little attention. And Jack Mellers is the founder and CEO of Strike, a financial app that enables the easy and inexpensive transfer of money via the Bitcoin Lightning Network. And Mellers is a central figure in the Bitcoin community and has played a significant role in El Salvador's adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender. And if that happens, it would mean that the USA could view Bitcoin as a strategic asset similar to gold. And a purchase of hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin through an executive order would very likely cause the Bitcoin price to rise significantly and send a clear message to the world. The USA acknowledges the significance of Bitcoin here. And Scaramucci and Mellers emphasize that political support is already present and preparations could be underway behind the scenes to introduce the strategic Bitcoin reserve from day one of Donald Trump's presidency. And such a move could also put pressure on other countries and also on states within the USA, so that they could also invest in Bitcoin. This means we need to prepare now and act now if we want to build financial freedom through crypto. And if you want to do that, want to learn about crypto, want to learn about Bitcoin and build financial freedom through crypto, then click on the link in the description below the video now. Watch the video, it is free and only available for a short time. What is important is that you take action, whether you click now or not. And the CEO of Meta Planet, a Japanese company that, like MicroStrategy, continuously invests in Bitcoin, is convinced that if President Trump establishes Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, it could have a global signaling effect. He explained at Michael Saylor's Bitcoin party at Michael Saylor's house, the $100,000 Bitcoin party, that Bitcoin is no longer just a topic for technology enthusiasts. Bitcoin is now being recognized at the highest levels in governments and corporations worldwide. Attention! Already in April 2024, Meta Planet decided to adopt the Bitcoin standard and strategically increase their holdings to enhance the company's value for shareholders in the long term. And that means the year 2024 will be considered a turning point in retrospect, according to the CEO of Meta Planet. It is the beginning of a new era. And if President Donald Trump takes this step, many countries, especially in Asia, could follow. Japan, for example, often looks to the USA and could quickly emulate this example. And the CEO emphasizes that emerging markets in particular could view Bitcoin as a tool to stabilize their currencies. And discussions at international conferences, for example in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, have shown that the topic is already present in many government circles. Some governments are even buying Bitcoin behind the scenes. It's only a matter of time before they announce it publicly. And according to the CEOs, the USA could set the pace and other nations will follow suit. And for him, it's clear that the strategic Bitcoin game is entering a crucial phase in 2025. And Michael Saylor also talks about what the USA might be planning in the background. Something I've often talked about, namely saving and strengthening the dollar and its dominance through Bitcoin. Michael Saylor mentioned in an interview on Fox News that states are increasingly accepting digital assets like Bitcoin. And Jerome Powell, who is currently still the chairman of the US Central Bank, referred to Bitcoin as a digital asset. And Christine Lagarde also shares this view in a certain way. This means that even the head of the SEC, the US securities regulator, has conducted a course on cryptocurrencies in the past. And Saylor explains that Bitcoin is not a threat to the US dollar. Rather, the US dollar will remain the global reserve currency, just in digital form, available on billions of mobile devices. And this digital asset that could support this new form of currency would then be Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor appeared enthusiastic and open in the interview, saying, "I'm like a student who is just reading Chapter 1 of Cryptocurrencies for Beginners." And in conclusion, Michael Saylor thanked the viewers and appreciated the exchange of knowledge and perspectives. And now comes the next big news. Already at the end of 2024, the financial manager Franklin Templeton published a report that made significant waves in many areas. It provided a clear forecast for the development of the crypto market and also Bitcoin in 2025. And these very changes originate from, are now imminent, and we are currently witnessing them unfold. Here are the key points that were discussed. Regulation and innovation. It was expected that US regulatory authorities, particularly the US Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), would pave the way for new financial products like ETFs and tokenized securities. As a result, the US could reclaim its position as a global hub for crypto innovations. Then they talked about stablecoins and the traditional financial world. A legal framework for stablecoins is intended to enable large financial institutions like BlackRock, for example, and Templeton, for example, to issue their own stablecoins. And this could accelerate the global spread of decentralized financial products. Then they talked about Bitcoin as a store of value. Bitcoin is expected to continue establishing itself as digital gold with growing support from governmental and institutional investments. And according to Templeton, some countries might even build strategic Bitcoin reserves. Then they talked about decentralized infrastructures. DePIN, industries like logistics and the Internet of Things, IoT, should increasingly rely on decentralized networks to operate more efficiently. And finally, they discussed the connection between AI and blockchain. Artificial intelligence, AI, and crypto technologies are expected to become more intertwined in 2025. Blockchains could thus serve as a transparent and secure foundation for AI applications, such as for automating transactions and portfolio management. And the report predicts that 2025 could essentially be a turning point. And I want to emphasize this even more because a particularly exciting point here concerns the role of Bitcoin as a global store of value. Templeton predicted that Bitcoin will not only remain interesting for private and institutional investors, but increasingly also for states. It is used to build strategic reserves, and this could mean that states and countries incorporate Bitcoin into their official currency reserves, similar to what they have done with gold. And this development would further solidify Bitcoin's position as digital gold and significantly increase demand. And Franklin Templeton emphasized that this trend would not only have symbolic significance, but also a meaning, geopolitical implications. States, countries, etc. that build up Bitcoin reserves early could thereby secure a financial advantage in a digitized financial world. And when I think of Germany, which sold 50,000 Bitcoin, well, at the same time, this would strengthen the status of Bitcoin as a safe haven in economically uncertain times. And these potential state Bitcoin reserves are not just another detail of the report, they could trigger a real paradigm shift in the global financial system. And Templeton sees this step as one of the central developments that could sustainably shape the financial world by 2025. And most people don't see the whole picture of what's happening right now. That means most people are also not preparing for what's coming. Or they are not building financial freedom through crypto or laying the foundation for it. And if you want to do that and don't want to be like the others, want to learn about crypto, want to learn about Bitcoin, then click the link in the description below the video now. Watch the video, it's free and available for a limited time only. Even if you don't click, trade. Because the fact is, the debate about a possible US Bitcoin reserve is causing a stir. Hedge fund managers and industry insiders like Anthony Scaramucci and Jack Mellors are talking about a day one executive order under President Donald Trump that could add hundreds, thousands of Bitcoin to the US national assets. And the Franklin Templeton paper from the end of 2024 sees state Bitcoin reserves as a turning point for 2025 and predicts a massive expansion of the cryptocurrency's value. And Michael Saylor and the head of Metaplanet also emphasize how much governments and companies are already interested in Bitcoin and how the digital leading currency is establishing itself as gold 2.0. This means that those who act proactively could secure long-term financial advantages here, build financial freedom, and perhaps even create intergenerational wealth.